Now, working off what John was saying about the scene where Adam sits up covered in mud, when we read the script and read about Adam being covered with mud, I think that's where all this gray hair came from. And then when in talking to John, he said, no, we can do that practically, and it was such a godsend because, I mean, we had our work cut out for us just making these robots box and dance, and to have to do the development, to do crusting mud, and it just, and it worked great. And you know, I'm sure some people will think, wow, that, you know, great digital work, and if John's not around, I might actually take credit for it. But that and having the robots for the actors, unbelievably invaluable, especially with a young actor like Dakota. I mean, Adam was his best buddy on set, and you could just see his face light up whenever Adam came out of his box for one of his scenes.
Boy and his dog. No, boy and his robot.
Yeah. But like I said, our biggest task was getting these robots to box, and I have a little demonstration here that shows part of that process that we went through to get these robots to box. Using technology that was used on movies like Avatar, it all starts with motion capture, and these are our fight performers. These are the guys that Sugar Ray Leonard worked with, and this is taking place on our capture stage, and they're wearing these suits that have all these little gray markers on them. Those are markers that are seen by about 60 cameras that circle this ring. Those cameras feed into a computer system that allows us to track all of the motion that the performers are doing and bring it into the computer, and then assign that motion to a digital version of our robots, which is what you see here. This sort of game quality render is the first version of the fights that we had, and you see Sean there in the corner with the virtual camera tool, which allowed Sean, months before we actually went to Detroit to shoot, to actually, in the virtual realm, shoot these fights, shot by shot, edit the fights, and really work out the choreography, the camera work, the pacing, all of that. So when we went to Detroit, we had a very concrete, well-defined template for the sequence. Where we took the technology a little further than it had been taken, at least to this extent, was in bringing all that motion capture technology with us to Detroit. Typically, motion capture is confined to a motion capture stage, and that's where you do it, and that's where it stays. We brought it with us, set it up in our different venues, like this is the Ford Model T plant in Detroit that was just a spectacular location for this underworld fight at the Crash Palace. But what the technology allowed us to do was to take all of that previously captured fight animation, applied to our game quality robot renders, and then make those boxing robots visible in the camera as we shot. So on Sean's director's monitor and camera operator through his eyepiece, this is what they are seeing. So the camera work is in reaction to the fighting, rather than the way it is with traditional visual effects, where you kind of aim the camera into the empty space, imagine where the robots are going to be, and sort of make it up as you go along. Our camera operator, although he's to everybody around him, he's standing in the ring by himself looking at nothing. Through his eyepiece, he's seeing the robots, reacting to them, framing the shot, moving with the robots. And I think that was the biggest benefit of this technology, was it allowed us to have camera work that was like it would be if you were shooting humans boxing. An additional benefit is right then and there on the spot, the director and the editor have a version of the shot that has robots in it. They can cut with it. They know they got a background plate that'll work. And it makes our lives in visual effects easier, because now when they turn the shot over for us to start doing our hard work, we know what the animation is, we've got the motion capture, we know what the camera was, all of that information exists on the day that we shot. That being said, this is what is actually photographed. And this is what the camera operator would have seen had we not brought all that technology with us. At that point, I just want to interject one thing about, I don't want anybody to walk away thinking that the motion capture that was done ahead of time is just applied to the digital robots and that's what it is. Lots of hours of animation done on top of the motion capture to do several things, one of which is make the robots look heavy. We had 6-foot performers who weighed, 200 pounds, but our robots are 8 feet tall and need to look like they weigh 800 pounds. They need to hit harder than the humans did, and a lot of the subtle human nuance that is both the benefit and the curse of motion capture is stuff that we had to extract from the motion capture so that the robots move like robots, not like humans. Once the animation is approved, that's when we do our photoreal versions of the robots, and this shows, gives you an idea of how many different layers go into creating a photorealistic robot. And this is ongoing throughout the post-production process. So this, on one shot, just summarizes the sort of motion capture progression. Motion capture followed by a virtual camera version of the shot. We shoot a background plate in Detroit, although while we're shooting, the camera operator is seeing the robot, light and render a photoreal robot, and put it into the background plate. And 18 months after we start, you wind up with this.